Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with my Laugh Attack co-host, Phil. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm a little late today. I'm sorry. I obviously can't tell time, and What's great is I was sitting here waiting and going, "Oh, it's going to be so nice in about an hour when I talk to Chantele." Like, oh, whoops.
All good. But I do owe you something. I owe you a happy belated birthday to you. Happy belated birthday to you. Happy belated birthday, dear Philly. Happy belated birthday to you. Happy belated birthday. I mean, I said happy birthday yesterday, but you didn't get an online happy birthday song. So happy birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I had a great day. It was wonderful.
It was a great day, and you know what? Look at that. I think my delivery is here. So you keep talking. Maybe go through. You can talk about what you did for your birthday. No, I want to hear that. Maybe start.
I'll go through the survey. I'll go through the survey.
I'll be back. Bye.
Wonderful. Well, as everybody knows, every week we love to do a little survey about the last podcast that we did. So let's take a look at what you guys said for what you guys were feeling for episodes 13 and 14 of The Amazing Race Australia. Hopefully people are enjoying it. So the first question was, would you have picked brains or brawn? Because they had that choice going down the rappel, brains or brawn. The majority of people who did the survey, they said brains. Due to the forced pick on the rock rappel, do you think it was fair a team could switch detours? Most people actually said yes, it was okay. So they disagreed with me from last week. I thought that they couldn't, but most people said they could. What other Disney moment would you like to see as a challenge? I know I'm trying to remember what I said last week. I think I said Hansel and Gretel or something, and I think Chantele said Princess and the Pea. There was a Cinderella one about getting the shoe to fit. Somebody had written, so that was a good one. So that's fun. Were you happy that Stan and Wayne were saved by the non-elimination? It was pretty much half and half. Do you think the alliance? We're about halfway through it. You're
okay, where are we at?
Do you think the alliance of 4 teams will play out strong going forward in the race? Most people said yes. Which of the intersection teams did you feel were the strongest? We had it was Ashley and Amanda and the Cowboys. How shocked were you to see the 4 teams aligned and focus on taking Chris and Aleisha out? Not high. That was about 3 out of 5. And how shocked were you that Ashley and Amanda stayed behind to help Skye-Blue and Jake? That was a little bit higher, about 3.6 out of 5. And there was a couple picks for what was the hardest thing. We had the face first rappel, the obstacle course, and somebody thought that the cuckoo clock find was the hardest one. So I was like, I didn't find that hard, but maybe.
Well,
maybe they don't like birds.
With the cuckoo clock one, it's kind of like there's just a lot going on, and so like it might be easy to miss it. But I feel like if you stood in one section, looked at all the clocks, and then went to another section, like it wouldn't be that hard to do, I would think. I don't know. I'm a good scanner.
And then the last question was, which team do you feel has made the most crucial moves these past 2 legs? Surprising number 1 answer was Holly and Dolor. People thought that they had, and I guess that makes sense. They sort of did move up a bit. But yeah, so that's last week's survey. We got a lot to talk about from this week.
Oh boy. But before we do so, how was your birthday celebration? His birthday was yesterday, and I see you're still celebrating today.
I celebrate. It's a whole month long. I'm an Aries, so obviously I think it's all about me. Leading the way. But yeah. No, it was great. Played some games with some friends. Did some online stuff. It was a good. I drank a little bit. Always fun. I'm still enjoying having a nice wine. Maybe that's why I was late.
That's why it's probably you're like, I'm still partying. But I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad we figured out that the clock on the computer is different from real time. And we are here together right now. So we're talking about episode 15 of The Amazing Race Australia. Like, this is getting a little bit long, you know? We talked about it a little bit last week. It's just kind of like, okay, let's kind of wrap this up, you know? It's not like we're having, it's just like, okay, let's go. But we still have about a month's worth of recaps to do for 2 episodes each week. So, or maybe a little bit less, but still. So they start off at the Sunshine Coast, and they have to go on foot to Rick's garage, where they need to hitch a ride to Brisbane. And so inside this watering hole that is Rick's garage, they had to find some drivers with marked caps. So I thought this was a pretty easy beginning of the task, but it didn't seem that easy for a lot of people. They were just running around and not being able to find them. You know, they're getting very creative, we'll say, with their tasks. What do you think of this one?
Well, I mean, not that hard. I did find it weird, the building itself, because it felt like people went in and then came out the same spot, but there was like stairs, and then they came outside there too. I was like, what does this building look like? Some of them had a little bit more difficulty than others. It would seem very strange why they were having such difficulty. You would think you would just check everybody that was there, but
yeah. It seems like people could, and then like when you like sometimes they would ask somebody, be like, "Hey, are you a driver?" And they'd be like, "Yes." And it's like, wait, like, are they? I thought they were lying because like we didn't see the back of their spotting the back of their hat, you know, with the flag on it. You're just like asking all these random people, and they're like, "Yes," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe they needed to do a retake." Like they're like, "Okay,
maybe they all were."
Actually, that's possible too, but we didn't really see the back of everyone's hat. I was like, I wish that was what the camera people were focusing on. It's like, okay, that person has a hat and that person has a hat. So like when they're running around, we could, I don't know, be playing along with them a little bit. So I thought it was not televised. Like it wasn't recorded very well, this task. It kind of, I couldn't get involved, you know? So one thing that was cool, though, is that their drivers were going to be driving them to Brisbane in these old-time, vintage, classic cars. Have you ever driven in a classic car? Do you have a favorite classic? What do you think about getting to ride around in one of those beauties?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. This is bad. I can't even tell you what type of car it is, but the type of car that I would like,
DeLorean.
No, although you know me, I love the 80s. But in the movie Clue, they drive these old-fashioned cars at the beginning of the movie when they're coming to the house, and I would love to have one of those cars. Because
was it a really hearse? Cool. Like, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'll find out what they were.
You know, the only line that I remember from that movie is the song is "I am a singing telegram." Like that's like the only thing I remember from that movie.
It's my favorite.
Seen it many, many, many times. I don't remember the cars at the beginning. I probably would remember if I watched it, but I can't think right now what they would be. I don't know if I have an old-timey car that I'd want. I'd want maybe like an old sports car, like an old Porsche or an old, like, you know, something very luxury fancy, but like old. That would be kind of cool. Especially if it was like an old manual and it's just like kind of like clunky, you know? So yeah, an old Porsche is what I would go for. Super cool. So where do they have to go? Okay, so what I thought was really interesting was they said that Brisbane, the original name that they wanted it to have was Idinglass. Didn't you think that was cool? Yeah. Like it was like before the mix of Edinburgh and Glasgow, and they wanted to like put those two half and half together to make Brisbane. So they didn't really explain why it became Brisbane instead.
I don't know. Were they like saying, okay, well, if you're Scottish, you have to live here?
I don't know how. Well, I don't really know fully how everybody settled over there. Like, I know that it's similar to Montreal, where some of like the convicts and maybe, you know, the people that England might have ejected were coming over there. So, or maybe I guess also, maybe it was all like the United Kingdom people being ejected, not just England. I thought it was always just England.
Yeah.
But maybe some people from Scotland as well. Anyways, I thought that was a cool fact.
That's very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Me neither. So, okay, so Stan and Wayne's, I didn't understand what their salvage pass was until I understood what Chris and Aleisha's sabotage was. So poor Chris and Aleisha have to carry Stan and Wayne's backpacks that are full with like protein powder and like super heavy things. And these bags weighed more than Aleisha. So what do you think about this sabotage and salvage?
This is a good one. This is very well thought of because the advantage of not having to carry your bags is quite good. And the fact that also, having to carry another team's bag, I mean, it really worked out awful for them. Of who it was that they had to carry for it. But yeah, no, I think this might be the best salvage sabotage of the race. It actually did, in some ways, would impact the team. Now, it doesn't as much, but it would. I think in a different city, it might have.
100%. I mean, I thought it was pretty good, but I was just like, I had to roll my eyes when Aleisha was like, oh, it's so heavy. And so like poor Chris is carrying 3 bags. He's just like, and Alicia's just carrying the 1 bag. Like she carried one of the heavier bags. Absolutely cool. Yeah. But like, she was still like, oh, like, I can't. And I'm just like, Aleisha, you're still in the game. Okay. Like you're still in the game. So buck up. Like it's not that bad. I mean, there's definitely been worse sabotage, I think, or more annoying. This one, at least it's not like your legs aren't tied together or you can't talk to each other or you can't ask for direction. I think those ones are actually could be more damaging than this one where they get to still be themselves, but they just have extra weight to deal with. So I do think it's a good salvage sabotage because having no bags is amazing.
Amazing.
Such a good.
And knowing that those bags are still coming with you, I mean, that's great.
Right? Just like, thank you. Thanks for carrying my bags for me. Yeah, appreciate you. So good. So, okay, Stan and Wayne had the most trouble, we'll say, finding their driver at that place. But so Chris and Aleisha, though, so they find their driver they were second to last. And they find their driver, they go start driving, and they're from Brisbane. So they actually know a lot of the back routes and shortcuts to get to different locations. So them being from Brisbane greatly was advantageous for them, even though they were leaving at the very back of the pack. What do you think about some people getting this advantage of being in their home areas?
It's tough. I mean, I always wonder that especially with like the race in the States, because like especially when it's like the final leg and it's like, oh, and we're gonna have it, and they're like, oh, it's in my hometown, and it's like, well, you had 11 teams. Couldn't you pick another city that wasn't like one of those 11 cities so that it was a little bit more fair? I don't know. I mean, we've seen it. The girls had it in the town that they were from.
I didn't like it.
They did really well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I like people being able to have to learn to move around, but
I like them being on equal playing ground, like playing fields, or like if they're gonna do that, since this is the world's longest race, like have at least one leg in everybody's city, so like everybody gets an opportunity. I know that they can't tell who's going to be eliminated when, and so they have to plan the legs in advance, but I don't know, it just seems so unfair, especially if it's all in Australia, that some teams will get a huge advantage should they make it to that leg. So I don't know how I feel about it.
Comparing it to a team coming in on leg 9 to start, I'm okay with them going to their hometown. Because I think that I'm like, okay, at least they're tired by this point.
That's true. They've worked for it. They haven't just like get plopped in, have 2 first-class passes, and it's my home city. Like, don't worry. Like, I know. Oh, this is the hi Marsha. Like, they. Yes. Okay. I agree that I'm more okay with Chris and Aleisha being in their home city than MJ and Chelsea being in their hometown.
Chelsea.
So
yeah, definitely.
And also, I guess, I've been to Paris, and so I might be able to know certain ins and outs of Paris if we were in Paris for the leg. So it would just be that would be a lucky advantage. But if they came to Toronto, Like, that would be so much of an advantage, you know?
Yeah.
Like, imagine,
yeah,
like,
no,
you're like,
I agree. When it's a country that's not like your home country, I think that's just luck, and that's just like, oh, great.
I've
Good
been
for
somewhere
you,
that's
Virgo.
helpful. Yes, but like, I don't know, I came to Toronto, and from Toronto for an important leg. Like, A, I bet get in first place, but B, like, it's a pretty big advantage to know shortcuts in a city. It's quite, anyways. So at least you know which direction you're going in, like, or if you're going, you wouldn't get lost necessarily, you know? Anyways, that was my first complaint of these 2 episodes. Actually, I don't even know if I have a lot of complaints. I thought I was going to have a complaint, but I didn't. So they have a detour. So the detour is going to be cheery or, okay, what was that? Piriani? Paniri? I don't remember what I can't read my writing. Paniri?
Paniri?
Well, paneer is food. Paniri? Anyways, both of them are kind of dances. They're choreographies that they're going to have to learn. For cheer, they're going to have to learn a bit of a cheer routine with like a squad. And then Paniri is a traditional Greek dance that they had to learn. So which of the 2 would you have chosen? They're both seem equally difficult.
Yeah, I probably would have picked the Greek dance myself, just because I think, like, thinking about it, I would be like, okay, well, that will be one that will, like, it's steps, and slower paced a little bit. Like, it will be, like, a little bit maybe easier to get. Whereas I might be a little bit worried, like, am I throwing you up in the air, Chantele? Like, are one of us getting lifted here? Like, who's doing that? So, you know, like, are we worrying about, like, having to do any cartwheels? Or,
I mean, okay,
what's
something you don't know about me. I don't think I've told you this before, but whenever I get a little bit tipsy, I tend to force men to do cartwheels with me. So I do like a cartwheel tutorial and training session. And so I mean,
we all
I
have
used to
our
love
things. We all have our things, Chantele.
I mean, you know, some people get naked and get some furs. I've done it before, but like, I like doing cartwheels when I'm drinking. I find them really fun, and I love getting guys to do cartwheels with me. It's just a thing that I've always done. So, anyways, I mean, both of them I'd be fine with. I would let you choose. So I guess we'd be doing the Greek dance, which to me seemed a little bit more difficult with like these little scuffly steps. The cheer one just seemed a lot more like, okay, step to the side and chasse and step, you know what I mean? It seemed easier, but I don't know. Chris had a lot of trouble. So Chris and Aleisha, they arrive at the detour first. So having city advantage was a huge advantage for them. And they chose cheer. And so Aleisha, in her type A personality ways, kind of was taking on the teaching role as she teaches dance to try to help Chris in this detour. Did you think that was fair? The poor young girls are just kind of standing there and being like, okay, well, I will teach you guys this. It was a little awkward.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny that she's teaching him how to do a dance that she doesn't know 100% what the routine is. Like, like it's nice. Like, but you know, they've made the routine, not you. So, like, what if she was teaching the wrong routine? So, yeah.
She just took over, though.
I'm glad they showed her face, the teenage girl or the young girl she was like, who is this girl?
It's like, I don't know if that's exactly what it was happening, but it was a perfect cut to the young girl being like, why is this woman taking over my position here? But they needed some help because Chris is definitely not a dancer. Not good at all. So we see the Sikhs in the car. They left in first place, I believe, because the Cowboys had the first class pass. And so the Super Sikhs have their driver, and the driver gets lost. Now, is that fair?
Yeah.
Because, okay, all these drivers are random. They have the race flags on the back of their head. They're driving this car. are they not supposed to know where they're going? Like, I don't know. I felt that was a little bit unfair that all the drivers either didn't have equally the same knowledge of where they're going, or none of them had the same knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed a little unbalanced.
I wasn't sure on how much directions did the teams have to give. Like, what was that? And then also, like, I was confused because there was an accident at some point. A couple of them were talking about some accident, but I was like, how did some of them avoid it and some didn't? And maybe it had just happened and they got caught in that accident, but it didn't seem like it. Like, it seemed like the guy was trying to go around it. So
yeah, he diverted from the accident, but then the Sikhs were saying that the highway looked clear, so they ended up getting lost diverting the accident. And aren't we in 2020 when they're filming this? Like, where's the GPS? Where's Waze? Like, what? Yeah. Like, Waze tells you where these accidents are and like keeps you up to date. So I was just very surprised that they got taken so lost, and I felt really bad because they were in first place. They just happened to choose a crappy driver, and now they are fighting for the back of the pack.
Yeah, it sucks. and what can you do?
I mean, I guess it is. What can you do? What can you do? So what am I talking about here? So, okay. So pretty much everybody does the Greek dance. And I was hoping that Dolor and Holly were going to be decent at this because Holly's always talking about how great of a dancer Dolor is. But he's not really great at Greek dancing. It was quite humorous, but he wasn't very good. Did anybody's dancing skills stand out to you?
Well, I mean, the Super Sikhs, when they do get there, they actually seemed like they finished quite quickly. They did
their first try. Yeah, first try.
So they did well. And who else somebody else did really well there? Oh, the MJ and Chelsea.
I didn't think that they were good, though. Okay, so the people that went first, I believe, was Dolor and Holly went first. Like, they got there they left the Detour second, I believe. They got to the Greek dancing first, and they tried it on their first attempt, and I thought it was pretty decent, like their first attempt. And he's like, no. And then MJ and Chelsea were like, I thought we're terrible the first time. And he was like, no. And then when MJ and Chelsea did it the second time, he was like, good. And I was like, really? I thought it was worse than the first time.
Yeah. So, and in my head, I was like, oh, okay, so they're going to make them do it once, and then they'll make them the second time, and if they're not good, they'll just give it to them on the second one. Because sometimes we've seen that in the race where, you know, it doesn't really matter how bad you do, it's just the number of times you try. But yeah, I don't know. I find Dolor funny in the sense that he keeps going on about, like, he's a great dancer, but I really think he's a great dancer in the club when he's dancing the way he wants to dance and not necessarily to a routine, right? Like, and I bet I'd watch him dance. I would watch him dance. But I don't think when it comes to somebody teaching him how to dance, I don't think he has the attention to detail.
No, I guess he doesn't. But I thought that him and Holly looked better than MJ and Chelsea. So I was just surprised that they got it so quickly. And then I was just like, that's when my eye rolls started. I'm like, oh, they left in, at the bottom of the pack, and now like they're leaving this Detour first. And I'm like, just like, ugh, whatever. I don't want to hate on them, you know what I mean? Because they are people that have been invited to play the game. Like, they didn't choose what position they're starting in. Like, this is all mechanics of production. So I'm trying to like reserve my dislike for anything that they do in the race. But they really made me not want them to root for them. I don't want to root for them because it's just so unfair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unfair.
I'm not really like getting into their story of who they are.
No, I mean, it's like, oh, we're just really competitive. We're really competitive. We always want first. I'm like, okay, get it. So take all the prizes now from these poor people that like are like, they're not athletic superstars. Yeah. Like, this is probably the first thing that they've really done that's like such at a competitive level. And then you have these champions come in and just like steal all the first places. Like, it's just so, it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
like I probably would love MJ and Chelsea if it was a team of all athletes. You know what I mean? Like, and they were doing this well. But like the fact that they're playing against like, you know, this little skinny Aleisha and Chris and, you know, all these just like regular people that are trying to do well in a race, like I just can't root for them. So they're going to Subway on Queen Street. I'm like, oh, there's a Subway on Queen Street. It sounds just like home. And so one person has to be the sandwich builder and one person the taster. And basically, so the taster is going to have to figure out what 10 ingredients have been put into the Subway sandwich that they are given. So I'm sure I can guess, but which role would you have preferred?
I probably would have. Let me say, Dolor was right. What he was saying, maybe it wasn't coming out right, but what he was saying was, whoever goes to Subway should be the taster because they know what the ingredients are possibly going to be. And so, I mean, I would be the taster, I would think. I mean, I can pretty much tell what the food is. And I've had Subway quite a bit. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great challenge. I don't know. It was weird. Like, I felt like they just had to name it. And, like, it wasn't like you had to get all 10 right. Like, you could keep guessing until you got your 10. I got that vibe. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they would be like, they'd say they're 10. And then if it was wrong, they'd say it again. Because, like, because in the end, which I thought was a really funny moment, was how Dolores like, yeah, I think I got it in like 3 tries. And Holly was like, it was actually more like maybe 5 or 6. And he's like, so I'm thinking that the tries actually must have been not just filling, like maybe they got 8, like you're saying. And then like, when they say 9, they'll be like, no. And then, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what happened. But I think they had to get a whole bunch in the beginning. I don't know. Something like that. So, yeah, I could do this one pretty easily. Like, what could be in it? It can't be that many different things. Like, lettuce, okay. No. Cheese, okay. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd be able to tell what's in it.
I mean, if you're the person making it, don't go with anything like that's crazy that's never going to get gassed or
like some random sauce.
Yeah.
I didn't think though that would be something that I'd have to like be like, okay, so like I like Italian dressing on my Subway sandwiches. Like I didn't know that was something that I'd have to prep mayo, light mayo, like I don't know, mustard, only mustard, pickles, like. Yeah.
I don't think I ever would have went on the race going, you know what I need to know? I need to know Subway restaurants. It's like, now I'm like, oh, if this is a thing, I could get like, let's go to McDonald's. I could name it.
Well, I mean, at least now though, what we could probably do for our prep is tasting food and like seeing if you could identify it. That's something that we could practice. Definitely being like, what's in this sandwich? And I'd be like, here you go. All I can think about when I think of Subway is when I was living in Montreal, I worked at this clothing store called Space FB, and it was right next to a Subway restaurant or whatever it's called. And so I would always just smell that smell of the bread, and it was always in my clothes and my hair. And so like I can't even really eat it anymore because I smelled that for like a year every day of my life. This like not even smells like bread smell, like whatever that was, it just stuck to you, and all the clothes just smelled like Subway bread. So that's all I think about when I think of Subway.
Yeah, if you're in a mall and a Subway opens up next to you or right across, your clothes are gonna reek of bread. Like,
why does it do that? What are the ingredients?
It's so strong.
I don't get it. So, okay, I understand what you're saying, that the person that goes to Subway more often should be the one that's a taster. But like, why is he so confused by what these ingredients are possibly could be? Like, you don't know what like an onion tastes like, a cheese.
You haven't had a sub before? Come on, Dolor.
Like, he was just, I thought, being ridiculous because it's like, it really was like, you don't know what a cucumber tastes like. Like, what? Like, okay, maybe when people were putting on like shredded carrots, maybe I wouldn't catch that because I wouldn't think of putting carrots on my sub. But like, the ingredients are pretty, like, maybe some jalapenos, maybe some olives, maybe some pickles, maybe some cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, spinach, maybe. I don't know. These are pretty standard, I would think. So the fact that he was, like, so worried about doing the tasting, when I was like, I don't know, she doesn't eat that many things. So I think it would be harder for her to be able to identify not eating a lot of ingredients, especially at Subway. So I don't know. I think he was just like trying to be difficult because he enjoys putting up a little bit of a fight for everything. So Skye-Blue and Jake, they did their attempt first, I believe. And while they were doing it, I could actually see the Super Seeks there, but they hadn't showed the Super Seeks arriving there. So I was like, oh, they got there. Okay, good. Like, they're in it, like, with people still around. Like, they never really showed the conclusion, I don't think, of the Seeks being lost. It just all of a sudden, they were in the back room when Skye and Blue were going, and then they came and they did their challenge quite quickly. So that was interesting that they didn't, conclude that storyline. Chris and Aleisha, they finally do get their cheer routine. I didn't think that they should have, because you just see Chris like kind of looking around, but maybe they tried it twice.
He just sort of leaned and it looked awkward. I was like, that's no way that's the way it's supposed to be.
No.
I know that. Like, that was not right.
It was not right at all, but they did seem to get it, and I think they left in the end in second place still. I don't think that they lost much time, but MJ and Chelsea are now in first place, leaving the Detour. So at Subway, Chelsea, though, knows all the ingredients pretty quickly. Sorry, no, Chelsea makes a sandwich for MJ, and she knows what ingredients that MJ likes. So MJ and Chelsea were able to bang through this task pretty quickly, it seems. And so while MJ and Chelsea were doing it, though, Dolor was there, and he was able to overhear some of the ingredients. So I think that actually helped him. I don't know if you noticed that, because he was sitting beside her and had his, sitting beside or near Aleisha, and overheard Aleisha say some of the ingredients. And it was pickles that he wasn't hearing. And so he was able to remember pickles. Pickles have such a specific flavor, though. Like, it's so interesting that you would not know what a pickle tastes like. Okay. But, it's okay. I still love you, Dolor. You're so ridiculous. So the route info is go to the hotel, where basically there's going to be 14 different locked rooms. I was really happy that each of these teams had a different set of locked rooms, that they're going to turn on the light in the room, and then it's going to make a happy face on the side of the building. So it was pretty straightforward, except for the fact that they had to figure out how the map worked. MJ and Chelsea were there first, and they couldn't seem to figure out that they had to, like, follow the map. Like, this is where the elevator is, so, like, this is the way you go. Like, they were going, I don't even know how to read the map wrong.
Yeah, they went, they said something about, like, the way it was handed to them, so they used it, and then, obviously, like, they just didn't, they had it upside down. They needed to turn it around. So, yeah, I guess because it would be a different thing if they flip it, and maybe the things weren't numbered.
Well, it wasn't numbered, but the elevator, I think, was visible. Like, so.
Visible, yeah.
Anyways, I was happy that they were making mistakes, because I wanted them to be overtaken. I'm actively rooting against that poor team. So they leave to go there. I did love, though, Holly and Dolor, though, their whole Subway experience. And Holly is she's so patient, but also, like, not that patient. And she's just like, I'm only going to put on ingredients that Dolor. You can do it. Have faith in yourself. But they do end up getting it after his 6th attempt, says Holly. So, okay. Yeah, they couldn't figure out the map. Okay, what happened next? Okay, did you know what capsicum was?
No. What is it?
It's a pepper. Yeah. I was like, what are they capsicum. I'm like, what the hell is capsicum? And so just like bell peppers or capsicum. It's like their genus name, like their Latin name. But I was like, why not peppers? Like, pepper's too easy to say? Okay, so poor Wayne. Like, Wayne and Stan are pretty much last. I think it was nighttime when they're at the Subway part of the challenge. I don't know how they get so far behind. And so I think it was Stan that figures it out. And, we see Wayne pick up the table after they get it correct. I'm just like.
Yeah, I didn't get it. Like, they should be picking up a table when they can find a taxi within 2 minutes. like, I don't know why they're celebrating food. Food was not something I would have thought they would struggle with.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy task. It should be pretty easy, but it was just because they're just so muscular, I feel like I can only comment on their physique, and so I feel bad. But they just look dumb to me. That anything that they do just says dumb. Anyways, so they picked up a table in celebration of him figuring out the ingredients of their Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
So I thought that Chris and Aleisha were going to finish the hotel first because they seemed to figure out the map really easily, that she knew which way to go, and they went in and they were turning on the lights. It seemed like they're going really quickly. So I was really happy for the first time that Chris and Aleisha were doing so well, especially because they had those backpacks that they had to deal with and going down all those flights of stairs with those backpacks on. So I was like, that's pretty impressive that they are going to do so well. But we see at the end of the task that MJ and Chelsea finishes it first, and then Chris and Aleisha were second. Eye roll.
Yeah, I don't know how far. I don't know. I think that might have been a little bit of camera. I think MJ and Chelsea might have been done before they even got there. Because, it was hard to tell because none of the teams actually seemed to see each other at the hotel.
Right. I know. Well, because they're on different floors, though, so we weren't necessarily going to see anybody. And if they're taking the stairs, maybe they'll hear people in the stairs above them, but they didn't show them doing the stairs. So, and
I kind of feel like there's a chance that they were a little bit further ahead, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, I was really, really hoping for them, and I was like, oh my god, I hope because Chris and Aleisha, they know some back routes that maybe they'll be able to get to. Where are they going? They're going to a bridge. They're going to
the Story Bridge.
I don't even know where I wrote that down, but the Story Bridge it is. And so I thought they were going to have to carry these backpacks up that bridge, but it seems like they did not. But no matter what, they were second place because MJ and Chelsea were first, and they get to take a trip on the Gone, that train that the uneventful train that had a potential for murder mystery, and they didn't do it. I was really disappointed though that Chris and Aleisha didn't get first here though.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah.
Boring. So then, the other big happening was, so we see Wayne and Stan finally get to do the light switches. They didn't seem like they had that much trouble. Skye-Blue and Jake, I don't know if they had any trouble, but they seem to have fallen behind here. And so they actually, Stan and Wayne were able to overtake the Skye-Blue and Jake, which I was like, oh my god, I really do not want Stan and Wayne to beat Skye-Blue and Jake. That's a no. I can't have that. I can't have that at all. So we see, them get there, and finally, out of the actual taxi is Skye-Blue and Jake. They, for some reason, were able to overtake Wayne and Stan, and they get there. I guess they were almost in last. They were in sixth place. So I couldn't believe, though, that it became that close.
I think that it was a taxi. We've seen Stan and Wayne. They just cannot seem to figure out how to get a taxi or get directions or anything. They blew it. They had it. They found a way to get ahead. I don't know how they did it, but they did. And then, wow, it just fell apart for them again. And now their bags beat them to the mat.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Their bags were faster than them. So they didn't really show it, but the Super Seeks came in third. Holly and Dolor came in fourth. And yes, Ashley and Amanda, who also are used to be in the top of the pack, they came in fifth place. And then obviously Skye-Blue and Jake were sixth here. I did think, though, they showed a little picture of Stan's son, and I thought Stan's son was really cute with like the big hat that they're wearing, that he was wearing. Very cute. Yeah,
But they
I thought.
come in the last two legs. It was time for them to go. Like,
yeah, they were saved
I think,
twice in a row.
Yeah.
They were not good. They were not good. I wrote down though, like, finally, Stan and Wayne are done.
Oh, God.
Finally.
I was concerned because the push was a fan favorite team is gonna go home. That's what the thing was, and I was like, oh my God, they actually are going home. Skye-Blue and Jake are going, and I was like, whoa, no.
Wait, so
Chantel's team.
Oh my God, I'm so worried about my poor little team. So worried about them. Can I have MJ and Chelsea so I can root for them? I was really worried. They did though. I'm wondering though if that was another misdirect from the editors, because maybe the timing wasn't actually as it seemed, and they just made it look that way just to make some drama in the end. Because I didn't really see how Stan and Wayne could caught up that much. You know what I mean? So I wasn't sure if they maybe did some fancy editing footwork in there just to make it look as though there was a bit of a foot race, but there wasn't at all.
Could be. Yeah,
I didn't know though that Stan and Wayne were a fan favorite.
Yeah, I don't know about that, right?
I don't know either. So on to episode 16. They're going to Tasmania. There's only 7 teams left, which is pretty finally. I'm sure that we're having more teams be joining though. Like, don't you feel it?
7 teams left, and they said in the thing now it's the countdown. It's the race to the end now. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen that there's way more episodes to come.
Wait, how many episodes are there? Hold on, let me look and see how many episodes are there. So there's 24. Yeah, there's going to be 7 more episodes left. So actually, maybe just a team will be eliminated each episode, and maybe having
what? Maybe.
no. Like we'll have probably one more non-elimination or 1 or 2, and then that would be that there would be a final 3. I think in the final leg. I think that makes sense. 4, 5, 1, 2. Yeah, so I think there'll be 2 more non-elims, or they'll bring in 1 more team and 1 non-elim. Ridiculous, hilarious. So they're going to Rest Point Hotel. It's the first legal casino, and they have to build a 5-story house of cards with these kind of giant playing cards, and they have to use all 5 decks. How well would you do in this one?
Well, I think that would have been actually okay. I mean, I've done some House of Cards before, and with them being bigger cards, might have been actually a little bit better than the smaller ones, because just you're able to do things a little bit with the bigger cards more. I noticed a couple things in this where they did read that they had to use all the cards.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if I looked at that table a couple times, and I don't believe that all the cards are being used.
For whose? Okay, who's
Well, I know for a fact that the Cowboys had cards on the table in a pile beside them, so they didn't use all their cards. And then there was another team, and I was like, they had them like flat on the table around, and it was like, that doesn't make sense.
Looked like a very challenging episode. Did you think it was a challenging episode, Phil? I see.
Well, I would say that I think this one was more challenging than Leg 15. Leg 15, I don't think was that challenging.
Yeah, 15 wasn't so hard.
Leg 16, I think, was a bit.
A bit, but like, come on, you have to make a house of cards. That's pretty easy. My favorite part about that was the dress-up part. I always love a good dress up.
I like that it was like retro clothes. I was like, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, they get to look like, they're going to the casino with the babe, and it's the 70s. Like, I like that aspect to it. I just thought that I thought it would be easier, but people seem to have quite a bit of trouble with this. Now, I didn't see the full clue, but were they not allowed to put multiple cards together? Like, why weren't they just doing like, you know, when they had this, the one of the layers, couldn't they have put like 10 cards to make it a little bit more stable? And then, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it even said that they had to do the laying them on their sides. Like, I mean, could you have made piles of cards and made like a house like out of that? Like, I mean,
I would think so. I would feel like, as I don't know. I think that what would have been the best way to do it was do a really big base. And then maybe put a lot on top, so it's not just like card on top of card. And then do another with a big base. Like, I think that people were going too narrow and too small, and it's like someone like sneezed and like, you know. Were you panicking though when Holly was there fanning? And like I was like, Holly, like this is not the right place to be fanning yourself.
Looking at the other teams, already pissing Dolor off because you keep looking at the other teams, and then fanning your cards towards the cards.
Oh, Holly. I mean, I really do love you, Holly, though. You guys are definitely my favorite couple on the race. So, wait, what happened here? Goes to the... Oh, so... I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when Chris and Aleisha went to the far end because they learned from like the lolly challenge that they don't want people copying them. So like, I get it, but like, see, that's the way that they're putting themselves away from everybody to make people want you to not be there, or you are the outsider. You're the people that they want to go home, and then everybody else can group together and be you against them. And so she definitely has a way of creating herself to be on the outside. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I thought it was... Go ahead.
Yeah. I agree. But I can also, in her point, I can also be like, well, she's got to also be quite frustrated that at least 2 of the teams have put them in the sabotage that are in the room. So they may not want those teams looking.
But like, also maybe if you were better friends and friendly with them, then maybe you would have gotten the salvage, because they would be like, oh, they're so kind, they're so nice, they're always so helpful, whatever it is. Like, I would feel too terrible giving them the sabotage, so I'm going to give my friends the salvage, you know? So I think that it might have played to their advantage if they were just a little bit nicer to people on the race instead of being so outside. But what do I know? What do I know? So yes, I loved watching Holly and Dolor though bicker in their confessionals. Like this whole leg was their leg, and it was. They should have their own TV show. I think I would watch it.
Oh, I would watch that. Like, I mean, really, like, I mean, he has a whole different perspective of what went on the race that I think did happen on the race.
Like, I watch so many reality television shows of people that are way less interesting. I would love to see just the day in the life of Holly and Dolor. Like, they would be like, they'd be famous like the Kardashians, I think. Like, I think they'd be so, people would love to see that. So,
because what's really funny with them is like, because he's so deluded sometimes, right? But then, like, he'll say something that is like normal, and then she'll do something completely out of the ordinary and set him off. And it'll be like, what are you doing, Holly?
Oh, they're just so funny and ridiculous, and she puts up with it, and like he puts up with it, but like you know that they love each other, but their dynamic is so funny. It's definitely very enjoyable to watch, because I don't think in the beginning, like the first episode or two, I was thinking that he was more mean than he actually is, but I think he's just a little more insecure than I realized that he was, you know, and like gets like a little bit barky when like he feels challenged by something that he can't do. Like, he doesn't necessarily like people telling him that he's not good at something, and so this comes out with him kind of barking. But realizing this, I'm a little bit endeared to him, that he just wants some encouragement and someone to love him, you know. Oh, you know, you're a good woman, Holly. You're a good woman. So the Cowboys are getting super frustrated, which I would be, because every time they get a good stat going, like, it tumbles down. Skye-Blue and Jake, they call for a check, but then they realize that they had a card left in the box. How did they figure that out, and why did they screw up? So they get the card out, they try to place it, and then it all went down. What would have happened if they didn't notice that?
If they didn't notice that, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they might have got the clue because some of these other people didn't use all their cards. And then maybe the Cowboys, it was at a point where they were like, just give it to them. I don't know. But
I have to say, though, when the Cowboys finally got their thing done, they had a very nice looking house of cards. It was the best, for sure. Yeah. Everybody else is quite janky.
I think... I don't know why it fell for Skye-Blue and Jake, but I think they made a mistake of putting it on the top. They probably should have put it on the bottom on the side or something like that.
Yeah, maybe just slanted to it, one of the cards that are stable and secure, bottom.
Just put it in a place that it would not matter.
Yeah, that was poor decision. But your favorite team, Chris and Aleisha, were able to knock out the card challenge first. So they are in first place. Were you happy?
Oh, sure. It's always nice to see them getting along.
Oh my God. Well, then what happens? They go to, so the route info is to go to the Rest Point Hotel rooftop. And so they have to clean 3 different floors, specifically marked floors. And if they miss any of these floors, they have to go down and go back to the top. And if there's anybody in lineup before them, they have to wait for them. So Chris and Aleisha start going down. And Aleisha just and just misses a complete set of windows. And so Chris is trying to swing himself over to clean Alicia's windows. Do you think it would have been a better idea for them to just abort, go down all the way and go back up to the top? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they knew that they were in first, but I think that they wanted to keep first. But yeah, they would have been smarter to just go down and finish it. And because I think that he spent a lot of time trying to get over to that window
it seemed like a very long time, and it just didn't seem maybe take an extra 15 minutes to go down and come up. I do feel like it took more than 15 minutes for them to finish that window. I guess it also stops anybody else from doing the challenge while you are trying to get that window. So it seems like there was only 2 stations, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess there's that. They're just stopping people from being able to continue. So second out of the roadblock, was it a roadblock? Second out of the House of Cards challenge was Skye-Blue and Jake, I believe. I felt really bad for Amanda and Ashley. I thought that their dad was going to be a master poker player, and they've been learning how to stack cards since they were 4. I thought that was what was going to happen, but clearly,
yes, no, this was not their world.
Not at all. So MJ and Chelsea left third with the House of Cards. There was a really ugly House of Cards as well. Yeah. I believe Skye-Blue and Aleisha got there first. Or did MJ and Chelsea? I can't remember.
Up to the roof?
Yeah. Oh, it says Skye-Blue. Skye-Blue did it.
Skye-Blue and Jake. Yeah.
Because I wrote down, yay, Skye-Blue and Jake pass Chris and Aleisha. Yes, pass them on that damn window. So I was very happy that they're getting past there, because I thought it was a bad decision for them not to go down and go back up. And Skye-Blue and Jake are on my team, and I want them to do better than your pick over there, Chris and Aleisha. So happy that they overtook them. Next, they're going to Long Beach. There is a fast forward. So this is the first time we're seeing a fast forward on the race. Fast forward means that they have to do one specific task. If they complete it, they get to skip all the other tasks that are on this leg of the race and go directly to the pit stop. And so this particular fast forward was to skinny dip, and they had to swim out to a pontoon, get a clue, and swim back naked. So how would you have wanted to do this fast forward?
Well, I would not have had a problem with it myself, but I can imagine, from them, I mean, you've got to think, doing this with your sibling.
It's a little bit weird. It
It's
reminds
a
me
little
of.
weird.
Do you remember in The Amazing Race Canada when they had to like be nude and have like the life drawing be of them like nude?
Right.
And I was like, that's so like awkward and like you're so close quarters and like with your brother naked, like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but they were pretty good sports about it. It seems as though Jake likes being naked, not necessarily naked with his sister, but in general, he prefers to be in the nude. And he's doing, what do they call those swims? When he's like,
they're like polar bear dips, right?
no, I mean when he's kept on making his butt come out of the water. Did I write it down? Probably did. Oh, duck diving, he called it. Duck diving.
Yes. Because the ducks keep their butts out of the water. That's right.
So it was cute. It was cute. I'll just finish up their story. So they completely finished that pretty easily. They didn't have that much trouble with it. They make it to the next part of the race where they had to take a kayak over to the pit stop. They managed to do that, and they did get first place for this. And what did they win actually for first place? They must have got something. Oh yeah, $5,000 cash and a year's worth of Subway.
Yes.
Whoa.
Subway. Thank you, Subway.
I mean, not that I love Subway. Sorry, Subway. But I mean, that's pretty useful to have a year's worth of Subway. What would that be like? $7 a day?
Yeah. That'd save a lot on food.
Save a lot on food. And like, look at Jared. He's so skinny. Lose weight.
Don't talk about Jared. Don't talk about Jared.
I'm sorry. I forgot. I did forget about his what happened after he lost all that weight. So the next roadblock is going to be who's a good shot. So I think that would be choosing you to do this.
I love it.
You love it?
I think they could do, I think I'd be okay with that. Shot. The only thing is shot-wise that I wouldn't like would be like needles. But I don't mind getting needles, but I don't like being told. Like I don't like seeing it.
Okay, I've had to get many needles in my life, and I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I used to like look at whoops. I used to look at it and like just like watch them like try to find the my vein and stuff like that. It doesn't bother me.
I'm okay with it. To me, like I actually will watch when it's on me, but like for some reason, if I see somebody else getting a needle, that like makes me go, ugh, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what other kind of shots could there be? There could be doing shots of alcohol. I mean, I don't know if they would actually do that on the race because that's such an advantage.
Oh no, there's been on the race I've seen shots before.
Hard alcohol, really? I can only think of beer tasks.
Yeah, they did in Russia once. They did a vodka hockey stick shot thing.
Fair. I kind of remember. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, gunshot could be like a thing like that. Maybe like throwing challenge.
I was mostly thinking shot as in like some sort of rifle. That's what I was thinking, that you're going to have to like use a rifle to hit a target of some sort. That's what my first thing was. I'm sure that's what they want us to be thinking of. But in actuality, they're going to a tower that I believe is called, actually, I don't know if it said what the tower was called. Did it? Was the tower called a shot?
I didn't write down what it was called.
So they have to go up this tower. So it's a winding staircase up to the tower and count all the stairs. And when they get to the top, they had to drop a shot, which was a bullet, into a bucket at the bottom of the tower. Pretty easy task. There's not that many stairs.
No.
You'd have been okay with doing that? Counting stairs?
I think so. Yeah.
Me too. I thought it was funny though, like Aleisha and her small talk with the guy about history. It's like, oh, me and Chris, we just love history. You know, it was just like the guy's like,
great. You know that guy gets that story all the time, and he's like, I don't care.
He's like, I don't have to pay to be here. Leave me alone. Where's your mask? So. What was I going to say? So Dolor, so when Dolor like was gonna go do like the windows, I was just like feeling so bad for him because he's so scared of heights and he's so like finicky and like poor Holly is spinning around and like they're just bumbling couple that like just never can seem to get it together, but they always just make it just by, you know. So I was laughing at them a little bit. Amanda and Ashley, they finished that task pretty easily. They didn't seem to have trouble with the window washing. And so on their taxi ride on the way to the tower, they saw in their guidebook that this particular tower has 318 steps. So they didn't even have to really know how many steps there was going to be. They just had to maybe double check just to make sure that they weren't counting a different one or something separately, or just to verify that it is 100 or 318. But that was pretty impressive that they had that full-on information.
Smart.
It is smart.
And very smart that I think, because they had said that they have never been to Tasmania, they got a guide. Because I mean, I think that a lot of the teams haven't been to Tasmania, so that was a smart thing to do, was to buy that guide. So,
absolutely smart.
Good.
And especially since they read some information that was completely pertinent for them in this particular leg. So very impressive. So Chris and Aleisha, they were there first. Chris was going to be doing these stairs, and they got it their first try. As he said, 318 steps. And they are, I believe, well, they're kind of in first, but they're in second because of the fast forward. So next up, there's a detour, and they have to choose sweets or spirits. So I'm assuming that we'd be choosing sweets.
Yeah, I probably would have picked sweets.
I'm like, I mean, I don't eat that much chocolate though, but I would probably, it seems easier than the barrel. I've had to make barrels before. So I worked for Jack Daniels. And so part of like fun tasks that we're doing was like a barrel making competition. And like, so we would like have to like help people make these barrels. So it's actually it's kind of annoying to do. And it is a little bit challenging to make and hold it together. So I probably would have said like, let's do the other one, because the barrel can be kind of annoying, which we do learn because Chris and Aleisha surprisingly did the barrel. Do you think it's because they can't eat stuff? Vegan?
It could be. I mean, they have struggled on the eating things, right? Like, I mean, going back to that Weetabix challenge.
It always comes back to the Weetabix.
Right? Like, I mean, I feel like that probably, you know, I could imagine you'd be thinking, okay, this is going to be a lot of chocolate.
A lot of chocolate. So basically there's these like chocolate frames that like they had to lick. And there's going to be a clue on the actual screen or whatever that they have to reveal. And so I would be biting it. It was pretty.
It was gross. That may have been one of the grossest things that's ever been on the race. And why they kept focusing on the saliva coming down the chocolate. That's disgusting.
We're in a pandemic.
I don't want to see that.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, but I did not notice saliva dripping. And I didn't know what... So Dolor and Holly did that one, and Dolor is like gagging. And I'm like, it's not that bad. And she's like, I don't even like seeing Holly brush her teeth. I'm like, why is he so queasy?
What was with that? That was a little too much. Like, that was like, okay, Dolor, like, calm down. Like... It's
like, I can't do... Well, and the fact also, though, that, like, they had decided to do the chocolate, and because Holly's like, we should do the chocolate because, you know, we're not great at building things, and it took us a really long time to do the last build one. So I think that's a great, you know, learn from your mistakes in the past and don't choose the same thing. And yes, it's gross, but it's a lot easier of a task as we learn, because Chris and Aleisha had quite a bit of trouble doing the barrel making, and they were the only team that chose that one. So I think that Dolor, maybe he just wanted to quit. Like, maybe he was just trying to like give up, and I don't know.
I think he wanted to be right.
They would have not been able to do the barrel. I don't think that they would have been too good at that at all. at all.
No. I mean, he did do something smart at the chocolate thing, which is, he decided to hold it still and then figured out what the challenge was, which was take a look at the back of the picture.
I don't know if the race actually realized that they would be able to see that. Like, I think that's an oversight of the race because that seems a little bit not. I don't think that they're wrong for seeing it. I'm glad that they still had to scratch out the chocolate, but at least he could direct her. So maybe he could read it, but then the producer's like, no, you still have to scratch it out with your mouth. And so I do think that it was a little mistake on behalf of production that they weren't expecting. But I was happy that they figured it out, that they stayed, because if they had left, they were going to be in last place for sure. They wouldn't have done well in that challenge, and it would have been a guarantee that they were going to be going out of this race. Everybody else did it pretty easily. We saw the Super Seeks. It was all in their beard and stuff like that. It was a white chocolate all in their beard. And that looked pretty gross to me.
Did you like that they were able to because it was you were supposed to lick the chocolate. That was the
I would have been using my teeth.
Yeah, I think I would have been using my teeth too, but do you think that that's an issue at all? That
I don't think so. You can't you don't have that much saliva.
No.
That seems because when you're biting it, you're just kind of making some room so you can get to the.
It's not ice cream or something. You can't just lick it.
It just would take so long if you just licked it. You had to start biting it. Use your mouth to reveal the clue is kind of what it should have said, not lick it. Because
not drain it with saliva.
I was laughing pretty hard though when Chelsea and MJ were just everybody's profile just gnawing at him. It was kind of funny, even though you were grossed out. While this is seemingly all going on, the Cowboys do finally get their House of Cards done, and so now they're in catch-up mode where they're going to try to catch up to the pack. Wait, so how did that happen? How did they catch up so well? Oh, right. Okay, never mind. So Chris and Aleisha, they end up building the barrel. They realized that they had to come in from the outside with the last piece. So they get their barrel in. It looks like it took them so long. What happened next? 5 attempts. 3 out of 8. I don't even remember what happened in this leg.
5 attempts.
What did I write down here? Lactose intolerant after 5 attempts.
The stairs.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Dolor, right?
Okay, so I just wrote down. I guess they did a clip, and then we started talking about Dolor. So yes, Dolor. Wait, was that after? I'm so confused now.
That was before the chocolate.
Okay, so before the chocolate, the Cowboys and Dolor were fighting doing the drop. No, they did that right after the window washing.
Yeah, they went there after the window washing. And Dolor, it took him a while to get it. He kept guessing wrong numbers that were none of them were the same. They were nowhere close.
The first one he guessed was 428. And then he was like, I can't believe that. I don't know if it's 228 or 428. So he was already 10 off. So he already miscounted the first time. And then he did so many other tries. And I think that the one time when the Cowboys finally got there, he just listened to what the Cowboys said and then just did one number up. That was wrong. And so I don't know why he just did this so poorly. I know that the Cowboys figured out that he didn't count the last step on the landing. So that's why he had 280 something instead of an extra 10 more or whatever. But it's not very difficult to count the stairs. And I was just very surprised about how poorly Dolor did here, because it was a really good opportunity for them to overtake the Cowboys. Because when Dolor and Holly were leaving the hotel, the window washing one, they saw the Cowboys starting it. So they felt that they had about a half an hour lead on the Cowboys. And so half an hour is a pretty good amount of time. They could just run up there, get back down, and be ahead of the pack. So I was surprised that they failed at that one so poorly.
So bad.
I wish that Holly had done that one, even though Dolor has to do some of these roadblocks or detours. And so they do eventually get it, though, before the Cowboys, and that's when they go over to the chocolate, correct?
Right.
Okay. Okay, I got confused, but it's because they were jumping back and forth, and then I was like, oh, just start talking about Dolor and Holly because they are the most interesting team on the race, I think.
Oh yeah, this whole race, yeah.
The whole race. What am I talking about here? Oh, okay. No, it was when they're still at the House of Cards. Did you notice that was the first time we've seen like the cameraman, I think, when the Cowboys they're just knocking down everybody's House of Cards, and then the cameraman, you could see them in the background. Like it was the first time it was the fourth wall was kind of broken. You could see what was happening behind the scenes. I thought it was kind of cool. I love seeing behind the scenes.
Yes.
Seeing other camera people. Anyways, I had to mention that apparently.
Shout out to the camera crew.
Shout out. So that's pretty much what happened. So MJ and Chelsea, they do get this, they finish their sweets pretty quickly. And so they have to find Chili's house, and that's what the clue says for the chocolate. And so it wasn't on the map, and everybody was kind of running around looking for who's Chili, where's Chili? And somebody at it seemed like a cashier was like, oh, Chili has white hair. And so they eventually figure it out that Chili is the goat, and Chili's house is its little house that has their clues hanging in. So I believe that MJ and Chelsea were leaving the chocolates first, and they're going to be going to the pit stop.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with them. Who was next? Super Seeks. They, we saw them at the chocolate thing. They're getting their mouth all dirty, but they end up looking for Chili for a little while, but they do end up realizing that Chili was a white-haired goat, and they find their clue. Dolor is going to barf. He's not doing it. Holly is crying. And that's when Dolor goes to hold the board to help her. They notice that they can see the words. So I was like, yay, okay, good. Like, you're doing well here. Like, you're able to, even though Dolor is not helping you here, like, at least, Holly, you could do this by yourself if he's telling you where to go. So I'm like, yay, yes. Yeah. So by this time now, MJ and Chelsea have got to the pit stop. So have Chris and Aleisha. So have the Super Seeks. Ashley and Amanda also did the chocolate licking. They get there in 5th place. And my poor damn team, Holly and Dolor, can't seem to find Chili's house. They get into their vehicle and they drive to somebody's house to ask if they know where Chili lives.
And they don't know.
Lost whatever lead that they could have possibly had. The Cowboys also do the chocolates. They quickly find Chili's house. When Dolor and Holly come back from their search for Chili's house, they see, Chili's house. And they have the last clue. And
of course, Dolor is afraid of Chili.
Of course. He's like, Chili looks scary. He looks mad.
He looks mad. He's going to come after me. Okay. Chili looked like a dog. Chili's just like hanging, like, just no big deal. So yeah, they thought that Chili was a person, and I was like, I wrote, I'm like, Lord have mercy, get in the car and get back to the damn. Why'd you leave? It never said drive to Chili's house. It never said that. Oh. The woman even said to them, like, look around here, which to me alludes to on foot. That is somewhere close by. It did not sound to me like drive down the road and ask somebody at their home if they're Chili. So I was really upset that they didn't do a better job looking around before they got into their car. But the Cowboys got to the pit stop in 6th place. Dolor and Holly, 7th place, and we're actually eliminated. I was like, come on, give the banana limb. Come on. I know
you want to keep them. I was bummed.
And it ends with him worried that there's sharks in the water.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He's like, are there sharks in here, do you think? It's like, Dolor, you are afraid of the world. You're more afraid of things than I am. I'm like, I love you, Dolor.
Yes, because I guess they're the pit stop was on a pirate, like a ship of some sort.
Yes.
There's a man dressed up as, I don't know, it's like an old settler. I'm not sure what his garb was, and so I guess that's why he's looking over. Maybe he has to walk the plank, and he's scared that he's going to get eaten by sharks. Poor Dolor. One thing that Holly said was that she hopes that it was another non-elimination round. So they've probably been noticing that like there's so many non-eliminations rounds, and maybe they're going to get another one. But the cards, the House of Cards, was not in their favor. They were not going to be saved this week. And my favorite team of the race, Dolor and Holly, have been eliminated.
I'm shocked. I honestly thought their storyline was going to take them to the end because it was such a strong storyline. Like it was, they were great TV.
They were so good. So good.
It's really different without them in it. But I'm happy that they at least got some good legs where they did well. But I'm even more happy that we got to see them struggle because that was like the goal that they were. Like, I mean, they were fantastic. So.
Such a good casting, Vic. I'm so happy that it doesn't seem like something that Dolor would actually decide that he wants to do and be a part of. So that was nice and surprising that he was there. And he has some good takeaways. Like Holly was saying that they have a lot of really fun memories that they get to laugh about and share. And he thinks that they're the best couple. And I'm like, I like that he still, like, even though they have, like, they bicker and whatnot, like, he still thinks that they're really great together. And so I like that, he wants to be with her. You know what I mean? Like, I like that. And she wants to be with him. Absolutely. And like they're willing to take those sides of each other and like still work on them being in a relationship. So I think that their relationship will be stronger because of this. He'll probably get some flack from friends and family that are watching it and be like, be nicer to Holly. And she'll be like, thanks. But I'm definitely gonna be sad to see them go. I only have one team left on my team.
Oh my gosh.
Just Skye-Blue and Jake.
Skye-Blue and Jake.
I don't think that they got the sauce, but I'm very hopeful. I think that they would be a great team to win. I just don't know if they have it right now. Nobody makes any mistakes really as much as they do, I guess, left. Yeah, they seem to fall to the back quite easily, but they do still have their whole alliance. So they have the Cowboys still there. Amanda and Ashley are still there. Super Seeks are still there. And so if the only team that's not in their alliance is MJ and Chelsea and Chris and Aleisha. So they have a good shot, I would say, of getting to the final four, unless 4 teams come in and, kicks them out. But I'm hoping so.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't find like the alliance did much this last 2 legs to help each other. So then it's kind of like, is this a story that has been created because this is how it's gonna go? I don't know, but we'll see what the editors do. I did think that Holly and Dolor had a chance to go quite far too, so who knows?
I did too. Well, we can have a positive note here and look at the survey for the next week. What are we talking about today?
All right. So, did you feel the sabotage salvage twist was good?
It was good. It was a good one. It was definitely fair and annoying, and like I thought it was a good one.
I did too. Do you eat at Subway enough that you would know all their ingredients?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Good.
I mean, I don't like Subway, but I know all their ingredients.
There's nothing too like. I like that. Was it one of them asked if there was cookies on their side?
What would that have been? Like a sweet
I
chili.
think Stan and Wayne said, "Is that a cookie?"
What would have been the cookie?
I don't know.
Is it like the beef?
I think he might have just
crispy?
been guessing. He might have just been guessing at that point.
I mean, they do have pretty good cookies at Subway. Their cookies are good.
They do. Were you happy that Stan and Wayne were eliminated?
Yes. I'm sorry if they're the fan favorite guys, but I didn't need to see them on this particular race. I was enjoying learning about the other teams more.
Yes. Would you do the fast forward?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Which 15 leg 16 task was the hardest? Was it the Greek dance, the cheerleading set, the Subway food challenge, the hotel light challenge, House of Cards, the rappel window wash, the naked swimming, counting the steps, licking the chocolate, building a wine barrel, or kayaking to the pit stop?
I think that. Well, what you said one that it was like, oh, that's probably the hardest. I forget them now.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know
What was
which
the
one
third
you would
thing?
have thought.
What was the third thing that you said?
Subway food challenge.
No, what was after that one? Sorry.
The hotel light challenge.
No.
Cheerleading.
No. Oh my god, I'm making you do the list again. I'm sorry.
Maybe it was the rappel.
Say again.
The rappel or the rappel.
Oh, the rappels. Yeah, that was decently hard. And the House of Cards. I think House of Cards is pretty hard.
Yeah.
I think the House of Cards was hard because it's so easy to have a shaky hand if they're hungry, if their adrenaline's going, if somebody sneezes. Like these are all ways for that to tumble down. So it might be hard to channel some focus there to get that done. And then as people start leaving, it would probably get stressful. So House of Cards, I think, could be very difficult. It also could be very easy. The window washing, I thought, is kind of difficult because of the fact that it's the heights thing. And if you obviously miss a window, you'd have to go back down into the top. So that could pose as a difficulty, but it didn't seem to really stick anybody up other than Chris and Aleisha. And then the Build-A-Barrel is actually like quite challenging. It's like annoying. It's like, why isn't this working? Like fit. Right. So it could be annoying. So those are my top three. But I'd say House of Cards is probably the hardest.
Probably the hardest. Were you happy that Holly and Dolor were eliminated?
Not at all. I mean, they weren't the best, but they were the most fun to watch. I like them being there. And they just seem to start getting more good sportsmanship, too, to the end. Like, even with the Cowboys, like, they're giving them, like, fist bump. It's like, it's okay, guys. Like, good luck. They still had some good sportsmanship. And, like, even though in the beginning it seemed like nobody likes them, it seems like they still built some friendship with these people.
Yeah. No, I like them a lot. So I'm sad that they're going. So we have 6 teams left. Which one of the 6 teams would you put money on making the final 3 for sure?
Ashley and Amanda. 100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, they haven't had the best last 2 legs, but I think that this is good. Like, it's humbling for them to realize that they're not always going to be the best at every single task. And so I think it will help make them work a little bit harder. And, what came in handy for them is the fact that they were working harder by looking in that guidebook and seeing like, oh, like I can learn some information about where we're going. So I think that they're in the best position to get to the final 3.
I love it.
Oh, I think though that MJ and Chelsea is going to be there too, though. Okay, who do you think the final 3 is? I think it's going to be Ashley and Amanda, MJ and Chelsea, and maybe the Super Seeks or Cowboys. One of those 2. Maybe the final 4 would be the Cowboys and the Super Seeks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go
with your Chris and Aleisha. I forgot about them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say that the Super Seeks, Ashley and Amanda. I think it's going to be Chris and Aleisha.
Ooh. So you think MJ and Chelsea are going to be out in one of the next 6 legs?
I think they're going to go soon, I think. I think it's going to be a good shocker. I'm going to put that out there in the universe.
Yes. I would love for them to go and be like, oh, we put up a good fight, good race. And there's like,
who's the 6th team? Why am I forgetting who they are?
Skye-Blue and Jake.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah.
They're probably going to be gone soon, though. I think that they'll be gone either next or the one after.
Yeah, because they haven't. They've had some storyline, but they haven't, compared to the other ones, they haven't had as much focus. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Ashley and Amanda, Super Seeks, and Chris and Aleisha. I can see all those three being in the top though as well. I just feel like with they have to have MJ and Chelsea because they do, when they do well, they do really well. You know, so I can see them doing really well on that particular race, but I could also see them doing quite poorly on and getting eliminated in the next few. So
I could see them getting maybe U-turned.
Oh, but U-turns aren't they non-eliminations? Oh, God,
that's true.
And then they're gonna be like, then they're gonna get to first place right after that. You know, the journal.
I think Dwes and Katherine are coming back, and they're gonna win the whole thing.
I don't think so this time. I don't think so. But I would love that, but I don't feel it. I feel like Ashley and Amanda are in a good spot to win. Be nice.
All right. Well, we'll see. So yeah, let's have people fill out the survey,
please,
and we'll talk about it next week.
Perfect. And are you working on anything? Oh, you are. So what do you want to plug?
Oh, what do I want to plug? Well, first, I'm sure you want this plug because I know you're talking about it. I have to say that the first 4 episodes of The Circle US season 2 has been very good. So I would definitely, whatever this means to people, I would recommend watching that and listening to Chantele and her thoughts on that after because it's great.
It's so good.
It's been good. Working on this Friday, we've got a game called Tagged taking place. So it's like an online game that you can play of strategy. You want to be the last one left. You can win cash. The theme is an Oscars theme. You don't need to know anything about what's going on with the Oscars, but some of the rounds will be like fun little things about things that are associated with the Oscars that twist into the game. And yeah, you just vote each other out and try and make it to the end to win cash. If you want to play, reach out to us at Good Time Games with Adam and Phil. So Good Time Games with Adam and Phil on Facebook. You can find us there and just send us a message and we'll get you into the game. That would be wonderful.
Woo, woo, woo. Well, thank you so much. Maybe I don't think that I can. Oh, well, we'll see. I might join, especially if you need some. If you need someone last minute, maybe I'll be your last minute person to save the day. So for everybody else that's still listening, please do us a big favor and subscribe. We're getting very close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to help us on that journey, we would love you to. And for that, I will honor you with, well, not you, everybody, but one winner with a $100 gift certificate to Amazon. And if you're in Canada, it'll be a $100 email transfer if you would prefer that. And that's when I get to 1,000 subscribers. I'll put everybody that sends a screenshot to Reality Realness with 3 S's at gmail.com. Send a screenshot with your subscription. I'm not against if you figure out ways to have multiple subscriptions. Do what you got to do. Increase your odds. I'm not against it. And so once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll go live and I'll do a draw. I'll put all the names on a wheel and I will draw live who was going to be winning this $100. So please help us out on our journey here. Getting really close, only about 215 away. So we're getting close. So help us out. And I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow where we finally see the conclusion of the challenge. So join me, Fanta, and Michelle with that. And then Jonathan and I will be talking about Big Brother Canada, another epic week of reality television show feed. So join us. We'll see you guys soon, though. Ciao. Bye.